Zoom as we talk about age. Your age is just a number. Is it age just a number? Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Reverend Terry.
Good morning, Adam. How are you, my brother?
I'm fine. How you doing?
I am doing well this morning.
Good.
How are you doing? Good morning, Cheryl.
Morning.
Rising.
Good morning, everyone joining. Wendy, Robin. Good morning,
Morning.
Wendy. Good morning, Afua. Afriye. Hi, my sister.
Morning.
Good morning, Miss Marie. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I am well. I am well. Good morning, Facebook. Who's on the Facebook? Call me out a name. Tell me who's on Facebook so I can say good morning to them personally.
Sometimes we can't tell who's on Facebook because they didn't make a
Good
comment.
morning, Miss Wendy.
Good morning.
How are you?
I am good.
Awesome.
Ooh, it's cold outside here.
I can hear the birds chirping.
Yeah, I stepped outside. Oh, you can hear.
I can hear the birds chirping by me too. So
Yeah, I hear them
good
by those.
morning, Miss Theodora.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Blessed.
That's wonderful. Good morning, Facebook. You are always welcome to join us in Zoom land so that you can get the full Monty, as they say. All right. It is, I also want to say happy Memorial Day to all of the Tuskegee Airmen, the Buffalo Soldiers. You know, this is who we are remembering today. I've been watching the Underground Railroad. So those who, all the freedom fighters, I want to say happy Memorial Day to them and all of us as descendants of them.
Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. We're healing, we're dealing, we're growing. Together, together, releasing. We're teaching, we're moving. Together, together, we're learning, discerning. We're striving. Together, together, we're leading, connecting, transforming. Together, together.
Yes. Again, good morning, and happy Sunday to everyone on the call out there in Facebook land and here on the Woo Zoom. Again, happy Memorial Day to all of the freedom fighters. I've been watching the Underground Railroad, trying to catch up this weekend. To all of those freedom fighters, to the Buffalo Soldiers, to the Tuskegee Airmen, which two of them I actually know, and to who else? The Maroons, all of the freedom fighters, and the new freedom fighters. Just happy Memorial Day. And before we start, I want to take 10 seconds and of silence to remind people that tomorrow is the 100th anniversary of the massacre on Black Wall Street. So I want us to take some time. If you are not aware of the massacre on Black Wall Street, there are tons of, there are some movies around that. There are, there's some footage on MSNBC, CNBC that the journalists are highlighting because they are actually in Tulsa right now, highlighting the events. So I just want to take 10 seconds to honor those who lost their lives in war or that were massacred in Black Wall Street in 1921. We give honor to those ancestors. So yes, this morning we are talking about is age just a number? And for those of you who know me, you see I'm not in my normal background. It's because I'm not home. Why? Because this is the first official weekend of summer and it's a party weekend. Yep, I said party. So that's what I've done. So for those of you of a certain era, a red cup represented a party. So I still have a red cup this morning, but however, uh, there's no Jack in there. There's no Uncle Nearest in it right now. Right now, there's some green juice in there because is age just a number, and the recovery process is a little different as I age than it was when I was in my 20s. So I just wanted to um, absolutely acknowledge that. So my it's a question that some people dread is like, how old are you? So it's a question that I want to ask all of you, and that is, what is your thought when people ask you, how old are you? Or when they ask you your age, let me put it that way, when they ask you your age. So you can put that in the chat and on Facebook so I can know, what are your thoughts? That's what I'm interested in. What is the thought that goes through your mind when someone asks you your age? And I know for me, there is throughout when I think about my lifespan, it's like, is there, are you asking me how old I am? And I remember when I used, okay, some people are happy to tell them their age. I see that one, which is great. Some people are not happy to tell their age. Their numbers. They're comprised of numbers. Exactly. That you think it's a blessing to see another and gaining more experience. Thank you. You stand proudly in your number to see another year. Yep. And of course, this group would be proud of their age to a certain extent. So if we, oh, I just saw another one. Let's see.
I got
I'm always proud to say my age because I'm alive and youthful at 67, soon to be 68. And congratulations to all of us for the number that we are. Is that, yes, that's all of them. So there is a distinction between chronological age and biological age. Your chronological age is the amount of time that's passed from your birth, from the date of your birth to today. So it's your age in terms of years, months, days, right? You ever, for those of you in New York, have you ever seen that there's a clock in Union Square? It tells the time all the way down to the nanosecond. And that's chronological age. It's also chronological age is they use as a risk factor for like diseases, mortality, for statistics, um, impairments to bodily functions. So that's basically how that's used. Then there's also uh, what do you call it? Physiological or functional age. And that differs from the chronological age because it takes in consideration like your genetics, your lifestyle, your nutrition, and those sorts of things. That is the difference. So we often we combine the two, right? Because we know what our chronological number is. And because most of us that are on this call and most of us nowadays are working toward having a healthy lifestyle or a healthier lifestyle. So it's different. I think about, I remember years ago, maybe in the 80s, riding with my father in the car. And there was a man crossing the street. And he said to me, he said, wow, I remember when I was younger. My father was born in 1925. He said, I remember when I was younger, I used to say I didn't want to live to be 50. And that was because what he saw a 50-year-old looking like when he was a young boy, they aged so because they did, where he came from in the South, they did a lot of manual labor. So the aging was very, very different because of the work that they did. So it kind of took a toll on the body. So they will kind of look worn. So, and at that point, he said, wow, look at me now. And at that point, my dad was in his 70s. And he said, and look how I look how I feel. And it was such a shift in perception. And that's the point this morning, that it's all a perception. It's all a perception. I remember reading an article that this woman gave a presentation to her company, and everyone loved this presentation and how she carried herself and the information that she gave and all of these different things. And when her and her colleagues were uh, leaving the presentation and they was giving her comments about the presentation, they kept saying how well she had done and this, that, and the other, and how she commanded the room. And someone said to her, "How old are you?" And she said, "I'm 22." And her colleagues' perception shifted right in that moment. They were like, 22? They let you present to the clients at 22? They let you had just said to the woman how well she had done. Now all of a sudden, because she's of a certain age, that that this whole thing has shifted. And why is that? Why is that? So there's this thing of age discrimination, right? So when we're younger, we present ourselves as older, uh, to get in the club, to getting into the military. A lot of the older guys that I know that were friends of my dad, they had increased their age to go into the military so that they could, not just serve, but it was really for work. That's really what it was for. We know that there is such a thing as age discrimination and uh, ageism is really what it's called. It's really a measuring stick. So I want to hear from one of you about your experience with an age discrimination.
Okay, so the question on the floor is, have you experienced age discrimination and what was your experience? As people are thinking about it, writing in the chat or thinking
Well,
about.
they can unmute them. They can raise
Right.
their hand, and then I will call on them to share.
Right. So as they're thinking about a situation, I'm not sure how long that will take. So, but do you have
Well, that's fine. I also want to call on somebody who is proud about their age. Where and
How
I'm
about-
going,
Good morning.
Wendy?
Miss Wendy. Did she freeze?
Because, and I don't believe I could recall being discriminated against because of my age, because I've always carried myself in a very vibrant, youthful presence. So usually what I get is when I disclose my age is, really? People usually surprised. Not so much appearance, but and I take very good care of my physical self, healthy, I'm walking as I'm talking. And I've never experienced any kind of age discrimination. I think people who do, maybe it's their own perception to others. But for me, no. I don't know if it's coming, but it hasn't happened yet. I'm complete.
Thank you for sharing that, Miss Wendy. It does happen. I'm glad it hasn't happened to you, but I know it does happen in the workplace. Um, I have friends that are over, right now, they're, over 45, and they are seeking new employment um, in the mid-level management and up. Um, so when they're looking for jobs that are, $150,000, $180,000, $200,000, they want to pay the younger people who have less experience, because who are just coming out of school, because they can give them less money and less benefits. At a certain age, we look at not just the money, we also look at the benefits package as we move toward that other number that quote unquote retirement um, uh, period. So benefits become a bigger deal as we move along the chronological age spectrum, opposed to when we are, are 20. Unless you have a family, then people kind of think about benefits. But for the most part, there is a whole systemic ism around age, and it's called ageism. There are a lot of isms. Um, my namesake, could you unmute yourself, Terry?
Good morning.
Good morning.
How is everybody? I hope everybody's having a good day. Um, I am experiencing it at my workplace. Um, I am 60 and proud to be it. Um, I notice they're hiring a lot of young people, very young people. I'm very happy for the young people. Um, but what I see is a devaluation of the people who are there. So what happens sometimes is folks come in, they look at everything the way it is going as absolutely wrong. They don't want to understand it. They just want to, like I said, they just want to tear it down and start over. Um, I've experienced where people are not completing their task, but they're willing to jump over and do my task. um, it creates a little bit of a clash because I I am not always the fastest, but I'm very thorough in what I do. I take a lot of pride in what I do. I'm very complete in my task. So some folks are just want to close something out, no note, no anything. Where I'll close it out, but I want to put a note, an explanation with the understanding that if somebody needs to go back and look at the work, they can understand and follow what's going on because I may not be there to give the explanation. Um, Sometimes it's how you work. They want things done like right away, and sometimes they just want it fast. They don't necessarily want it accurate. It's like do it fast and fix it later, which is a very different perspective and work ethic that I come from. Um, I come from one where you do it correct and do it thorough from the beginning. When I sit in meetings, I am like the old head in the room and often get treated that way. Sometimes my input is not valued. I am invisible. I'm visibly invisible at times. However, I am a person that will advocate for myself and I will stand up for myself and I will do what I need to do to be heard. But um, psychologically and emotionally, it does take a toll on me at times.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. Thank you for sharing that. And it is, yes, Kenyofo just said visibly invisible. Yeah. Um, if anybody had seen like the movie The Intern, where he was retired, Robert De Niro was retired, and he came in as an intern, but he brought so much wisdom and value to um, this young uh, startup company that was doing amazingly well. But his wisdom that he brought, even though he didn't know technology and how to be on Facebook and all of those different things, he learned that, and he also it was almost like a multi-generational shared work experience. I really enjoyed that particular movie. So one of the things I do know to be true is that, and that women experience especially, is when you tell someone your age, you give them the power to decide how you're being perceived. That is something that actually has been studied, because America's youth obsessed. It's a youth obsessed culture, and we tend to favor the young and women of certain age. Uh, they face unfair biases. As we was just talking about in the workforce. But the youngest of a baby boomer, and the number is about 72% of baby boomer workers report facing age discrimination as you climb up the ladder, or even just shift jobs. Um, and there's been some recent cases that have now gone all the way to like Supreme Court. I mean, that's how deep it really is out there. Um, and I really don't want to be anybody's measuring stick, right? I don't think any of us want to be a measuring stick. I think we have to think about, how we view older people. Um, and I think we all do it in some way. We reminisce about what it was like when I was your age. So older people say that to us. We say things to younger people about their experiences at their age. I know, I do it. Um, it's like, you shouldn't do that, or, be mindful of this. Well, I don't usually say shouldn't, but, be mindful of this, because, you have to think in the long term when you're thinking about money and spending money. I remember when my mother used to say those kinds of things to me, I used to be like, whatever. And now I'm like, she had a point. There is something to saying that life begins at 40, because we just have so much wisdom, right? So there's a thing about, if we knew then what we know now, how different would things be, right? But we all say that. I think each generation says that. I am going to um I am trying to look at.
Read the chat for you.
I see. I can't.
Chat, Terry, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay, I'm going to read the chat.
Great.
So,
Thank you.
sure. So from Facebook, Jem says at age 66, like Wendy, she can't recall experiencing blatant discrimination. Blessed by Yahweh to get a high-paying job 2 years ago. I know, right? Great job.
That's awesome, Wendy.
That was Jem.
Oh, thank you, Jem.
Jem from Facebook. And Cynthia from Facebook says, when I'm asked my age, I'm usually okay with it. Some are surprised by my answer. And yes, and then Jem responds, I'm absolutely proud of my age.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Jem, because yes, it does affect us. But as I was saying, oh, well, this is interesting, because someone is often surprised what I answer when we give our age, Cynthia said. So, we have that saying that good black don't crack, right? Because how we age is based on the really not the chronological part. The biological part is the chronological. The It's not the chronological part, it's the biological part, because we are taking care of ourselves, right? So we're experiencing healthy aging. We are exercising, as Miss Wendy is out going for a walk as she listens to this, participates in this Zoom. So we have to get our exercise. That's one of the things that we have to do. Um, we have the eating of healthy foods. Not saying that we should not have anything that's, uh, you know, we can determine as unhealthy, because even some of the, I won't even get into that, but even some of the vitamins that we put into our system, if we knew what was in the ingredients, you would skip them. You would skip them. But that's a whole other conversation. And and so there's the nutrition, there's that, then there's the mental health, mental well-being also supports us. Stress is a great aging factor. Okay, and the less stress we can do or hold on to, the better we are mentally, emotionally, physically. You've heard me um, speak before on how um, our emotions affect our physical health. So stress is one of those emotions that affect our physical health tremendously, and we just have to learn to let things go. We have to um, just keep doing, like, being on in part of this Woo community helps us age healthily, because this is a space where we constantly learn new ways of being, new ways of thinking, new techniques, new tools. And as I always say, you just keep adding them to your toolbox, and you pull them out when you need them. You pull them out, just keep putting them in and pull them out when you need them. Everybody here is doing their best with um, with with this chronological aging process. And the reason why the question even popped into my mind about, is age just a number? Because one day in meditation, I was thinking about, why do we make up all these stories about uh, when someone asks your age? Even though I don't, I often forget if I am 57 or 58. I do this all the time. And in meditation, God was like, because of ingratitude. And I was like, ingratitude. He's like, yeah, people are often not grateful. And I had to think about that. And it's like, so as most of you have said, I'm proud to be this age. We all know someone or someones who did not make it to whatever number we are right now. Most of us can go through our biological families and come up with someone, uh, a grandmother or aunt or somebody who passed away before the age we are now. You know, I think about the people who, died in childbirth, and I'm like, wow, we all need to be grateful for whatever chronological age we are today. And if we didn't learn that after the year 2020 and COVID, um, you know, I don't know when we're going to learn that. Miss Wendy says her mother passed away at 57 and a half. No, at 57, 5 days from being 58. And Cheryl said her dad passed before her current age. He was 46 and she's now 56. So both of them have now surpassed the chronological age of their parent. So we just give thanks for someone, I think it was Adam in the beginning, was talking about just giving thanks for every day and for seeing another year. Um, and that is the real lesson. Every day we get an opportunity to give gratitude and thanksgiving for um, for for the age that we are. I have and it just came up to me. I have a girlfriend, or I had a girlfriend. She was like my oldest friend. John Carl said his dad passed at 68. She and I have been friends since, I don't know, I think I was like 10. And she had one, two sisters and a brother. It was four of them. She had two sisters and a brother. Three of her siblings died before the age of 50. Two of them died at 49. The other one died at 43. So it was a big deal to her mother when she lived to see 50, because that was the first one of her mother's children to live to be 50 years old. Her mother had already buried three of her children. Can you imagine? You know, I buried one child, wasn't my biological child, but I buried one child. And can you imagine burying three of your children? Her mother went on to live to be like 94 or something. She passed away April of 2020. And the day after Mother's Day, my girlfriend, who was 59, passed away less than 30 days after her mother. So I was like, wow. It was that just came back to me because we her memorial was last weekend. They finally did a memorial for her. Candace says her mother passed away at 70, but she was a lifelong smoker. Yeah, and that affects that biological function of the decrease in lung capacity sometimes affects our chronological age, because we get to choose. We get to choose how we live. I was a smoker. I smoked until July 19th, 2001. Yeah, July 19th, 2001. And I stopped smoking. So my lung capacity is probably better. They say for every year that you stop smoking, you gain X amount of years back. So I'm grateful. Um, I just want us to be grateful for the years that we have. That's it. We give gratitude and thanksgiving for all of these different things. Be proud of your age, of your chronological age. Be proud of that. Take time to enhance that. Um, Remember that even though it's a chronological age, um, you're never too old. The number is not too old for you to do the things that you want to do in the third chapter, whichever chapter you're in, second, third, fourth chapter of your life. It's not too old. If you've seen recently, it's graduation season. So you've seen the older adults who have graduated. There was a mother and daughter who both graduated from med school in Tennessee. There was a 78-year-old, I believe, in Georgia who just got her college degree. There are many, many people. You can go back and you could do whatever you put your mind to. It's just a choice. Just as you chose to get on this live this morning, just as you chose what you were going to have for breakfast. It's just that simple that we can choose what we're going to do, how we're going to experience our chronological age in a healthy manner. I am looking,
I can read.
Terry.
Terry references the gun violence of many of our younger folks, much of which has resulted in death, constantly causes me to be grateful each day for my age.
Yes.
And
Yes, Miss Wendy.
Wendy says, you'll know that's my belief. You're never too old to dream. Start over. Be purpose driven.
Yes. Be purpose driven. And that is it. You know, do we feel as though we have purpose when we are a certain age? Do we feel as though we lose purpose when we become a certain age? And that might not be a conscious thought. That might be a subconscious thought. Oh, that's a good one. Miss Antoinette, can you unmute yourself?
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. So the comment you just made.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. At 59, I was working in a group home. I had to change jobs because one, I was tired of running behind kids. Two, at my age of 59, it was just being a bit too much. But I felt also stuck because at the age of 59, who will hire me? Someone, at that age when the younger people was coming into the job. But I did step out on faith and talk to a few people and, passed out my resume, and I was able to get a job that I could retire from, where I am still the oldest in my department. But what I learned is to sit back and let the young people do what they need to do. I'm learning from the young people as well as the young people learning from me. Now, it wasn't an easy transition for me to sit down and to allow the young people to do it. But in the 2 years that I've been there, I'm working on that balance.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, congratulations, one, for that. And two, for delegating and allowing, using your skills and allowing the young people to kind of do the, a set of work, and then you do a set of work, and exchanging uh, not just work ethics, but just the ideas around work and how to work and how to do a job efficiently and effectively. So, and again, absolute congratulations on having a job that you can retire comfortably from. That is a big, big deal, because we are living longer.
Yes.
So that, we can live a certain lifestyle that we are
Comfortably.
accustomed to.
Yes, comfortably.
Comfortably. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Did I mute her? I can't mute her. But yes, again, she just changed jobs at 59. And I know it's a big deal in the workspace, these numbers, their frustrations that we have around it, but we need to just go for what we want. As Miss Wendy said, just if that is what you want, let's just go for it.
Yes, Terry adds that she agrees with Antoinette. Younger folk are bringing skill sets that I can learn from. I'm making things work.
Yep.
And Wendy put in the chat, I was recently offered my current job as a pastry chef by the owner of the bakery/restaurant. And I wasn't even looking. I'm the oldest person on the job, but the healthiest looking.
And what what kind of brand awareness would that be for a bakery to have you as the healthiest looking, you know, as the pastry chef? So, that's a win-win right there. So, being a pastry chef, you can make healthy pastries. Pastries, you could teach them something. You could change a whole community just in that. And because of your not just because of your age, but because of your skill set, and you bring things together and you know what it means to be healthy, it's something that we could teach, the younger people from give them a head start. I know, right? She negotiated her income and her days. Why? Because we have the skill. So with age comes wisdom. With age comes skill. And we need to utilize that. We need to recognize that power, harness that power, and utilize that power. That is something that we absolutely need to do. Um, so congratulations to that. But again, so on the healthy side, you know, are we all engaged as especially as women? We need strength training, right? We need to make sure our bodies are strong because of movement, right? We need to make sure that we move. That's why dancing is important. You still got to be able to dance and drop it like it's hot, you know? That's why we always get excited when we see older women at a party be able to to go low, to get low, get low, get low, right? Because we're like, oh, people are like, oh, she can still move. Yeah, she can still move. We definitely need to work our hips, right? As older women, we need to do hip opening, hip flexors, all of those different things. As you, but some of I work in the healthcare industry on the caregiving, on the gerontology side, and that is the number one thing. Movement gets hindered. We slow down. When people retire, they sit down. We got to keep going. We got to keep moving. So we got to keep exercising. We got to keep dancing. We got to keep having sex. We have to keep doing all of those things that keep us moving, that keep us healthy, that keeps us young, that gives us levels of excitement, mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally. We have to consistently do that. The things that we put in our mouth, um, and the things that we put that come out of our mouth, also we have to be mindful of that, because all of these things we consider, all of these things contribute to our aging. We have to not let people stress us out. We could give people advice. We can share what we have with people, and sometimes we just have to let them be, um, and hold them in prayer is the best gift that we can give them, at our age, and we can keep, and that will keep us aging healthily also. So I just want to now see if any of you um, have any thoughts around this chronological aging piece, or what concerns do you have with aging, even? You
Terry,
know, yes.
I would love to share. You mentioned some things earlier that really resonated with me. Um, Currently, I just turned 50 10 days ago, May 20th. And my 50th birthday was something that I always look forward to, even in my 20s. And I'll share with you. I was born with sickle cells. We talk about health and what you do to stay healthy. I was born with sickle cells, and we know sickle cells is a terminal disease. And I was told I wasn't going to live past 16, then 25, then 35. Wasn't going to see the 50s. And for that reason, I look forward to this age. The other reason was my father. I mentioned earlier, my father passed at 68 in 2017. And one of the things I look forward to this age for was the wisdom, as you mentioned. My father exhibits so much wisdom. He bought a hotel when he was 29 years old, and then another huge hotel property 4 or 5 years later. He didn't have the support that he needed to maintain all this stuff, but that's a whole nother story. It's about age this morning. So overcoming my painful episode with sickle cells, making it to 50. On my 50th birthday, it was like, you know how to say, the reason you're excited about something is like, you don't wait till you get there to be excited. You want to be excited before you get there. So 50 was that for me. When I woke up on my 50th birthday, I was overwhelmed with so much positive, exciting energy. I didn't have to do anything that day. Everyone I spoke to was like, oh my God, you're so full of energy and you're not high. And I'm like, no, I'm high. I'm high on life. I'm just excited to be here. And I've gotten that wisdom. It's like, I recognize everything we learn here in Woo, where we speak it into existence. And if you say that all of this is going to happen, and you plan it, you set goal, you put a date on it, you time it, and that right there, I've set goals before and fell off and not be excited about them, but my age was one that never changed, and I felt the universe and everything that I've learned here, especially, work for me on that day. And I'm just looking forward to my next decade, my 60s, and the wisdom that come with that, because you just got to be grateful. You just got to be grateful. And the other thing that you mentioned that really touched me was discrimination. Have you ever been discriminated? And I was discriminated because of my I can't say that word, not going to try. Dyslexia.
Chronological.
Thank you. Chronological, and that's what's necessary, just to hear it again. But my young age, I was discriminated by my parents because they would say to me, "You're not ready for this." In my 20s and my mid 20s, coming into my 30s, I want to buy a house, and my father was like, "You're not ready for it." I wanted to expand and move my business. You're not ready for it. I felt held back by my father, and imagine me looking to him because of his wisdom and his experience. And like, he did all these things in his, accomplished a huge thing in his 20s. Like, why can I, why wouldn't you support me in my goals and that type of stuff? And I recognize that in the older generations, we can sometimes discriminate on the younger, and we tend to forget what it was like when we were younger, and that drive and the optimism you have for life. I think, and then having faith and belief in yourself, even if others don't. My father didn't support me, but I did it anyway. And with that came wisdom, with that came desire. Even the you mentioned the physical strength, that's important. Having this illness, eating healthy is important. You mentioned what you take in your mind is also important. Don't let no one encourage you to vibrate on a low frequency. Argue, invite you to arguments. You don't have to go to everything every argument you're invited to, and that is also wisdom. So I'm proud of my age, and I thank you. You mentioned partying and stuff like that. I love it, man. I thank you so much for this conversation, and I hope others come on and share their experience with their age, their wisdom, all that great stuff. Just the zest for life. Being living to this age, you accumulate so much zest, and that's what I currently am experiencing. Zest for life, and I'm grateful.
Zest.
Thank you. I'm complete.
Zest. Zest can be spicy. Zest, something subtle that adds a little bit to your food. Ask Miss Wendy about little zest and bacon. Um, but thank you for sharing that, John Call. Um,
Terry, before you
one of the things that came to me when
Terry, 1 second. Before you go on, I just want to acknowledge that it's 5 minutes to 8.
okay,
And the contact information was dropped about 5 minutes ago. Actually, that wasn't contact information. That will be dropped shortly. So thank you for joining us today if you need to leave. And I also want to acknowledge that Carmen's hand was up. It's down now. I'm not sure what that means.
yeah, I acknowledged her in the chat that I see her. So thank you. And yes, it is about 4 minutes to 8. So for those of you who have to go out to work, to play, to have a spiritual experience this morning, um, I wish you a blessed day, and add some fun to your day today, and to give thanks for your chronological age. Um, Two things before I get to Miss Carmen. Thank you, John Call, for sharing that. One of the things I wanted that just kind of was a hologram for me as you was sharing, in addition to your excitement, was your dad. You mentioned that your dad at 20 something um, bought a hotel and some other property, but he didn't have the support. And he discouraged you from uh, buying some property in your late 20s, as well. And one of the things that came through was I was one of one of the things that came to me was he projecting his experience onto you, um, if that is what you felt when he discouraged you from doing the same thing, or did you know at the time, or did you feel something different at the time?
Okay, I want to make sure I get that question, Terry. Rewind there. What do you mean by feel something different?
So did you know at the time he might have been possibly projecting onto you, or did you learn that information after that experience, or did you had already know excuse me, that he
I have to say that at the time, my life is so filled with challenges and conflicts. Determine exactly what was.
my life had been filled with challenges and conflicts?
Yes, it's totally. Um, so at the time that was happening, there was so many other things going on. Like I didn't know I was deaf at the time. My father didn't know either, so he kind of like would see me as mentally challenged, not being capable. Even though I had all these great talents and skills, he couldn't quite understand it. And I understand that he couldn't understand it because, I look I look weird to people, if you can't tell that I just have this communication challenge issue. So at the time my father was doing that, I felt like he was kind of, and just being totally transparent here, I felt like my father was using me kind of for his financial support, because my business was doing very, very well. And I couldn't understand why he wouldn't. And my only fallback was that, he is, you know, taking stuff for himself. And I must say that was a possibility. And, I've seen that to be true. And forgive me, and being vulnerable was something I haven't really shared public in a while. And actually reviewing it, thinking about it as you, I'm going back to that place. I did not understand, but it wasn't until a couple months before my father passed where he had what he determined as a spiritual awakening. And we had a very personal conversation where he shared, I started to tell him about the challenges we've had and how they discouraged me and all that kind of stuff. And he began to ask for forgiveness. Told me he didn't understand. He didn't understand as I was an extension of him. And he also grew up in a very challenging life, fighting most of his life. And that fight came home to me. I'm his first child. And a lot of times I felt like my father was just angry at me, but he was angry. And when you are angry, you can't really determine exactly where you project the anger. It comes out of you and it comes out on the people that are close to you. So I had a lot of that challenges with my father, but he gave me a bit of resolution before he died when he had his spiritual awakening. And he pinpointed conflicts that I didn't think he would bring up. He was like, and I did this, and when this happened, and it totally messed with my mind, because I'm like, Dad, when you were against me, I kind of like could understand, but now you're speaking the things I wanted to hear all this time. I'm like, I'm not sure. And of course, broke me down, tears and everything. And, we laughed and we shed some tears together. And I don't know if I answered your question correctly. I got lost in my share, Terry. You took me back to a moment thinking about my father. And forgiveness was something I really, really had to practice. And forgiveness is hard, I guess, at any age. I'm only 50, so you have to share with me how tough it is in the next decade. But I'm learning step by step. Forgiveness was important because I forgive my dad for all of the things he didn't know in his younger age, for his fight with the government to retain and manage his properties. And that's where most of his fighting came from. And then that fight came on his children, especially me. But I've learned forgiveness in my young age because of the challenges I've had and because of my love for my father. Like I said, I hope I answered your question. And I'm still learning. There's still so much to gain, and connecting with the older generation, the older folks, the elders, especially in our community. I have so much value for that because I pay attention. I look at older people as though they were once young, and you can't judge people for their journey. You just gotta learn from it and be prepared for the challenges going to come with yours. Wait, Terry,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. And I didn't need to go further because you were able to have a conversation and get some resolution with your dad and from your dad and for yourself. So that was awesome.
Thank you.
That was awesome to hear and to know. So thank you for sharing that moment. Miss Carmen.
And then
Good morning.
after Carmen is Veronica, and then after Veronica is Lori.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, Miss
Good.
Carmen.
Hi. I'm outside, so if there's a lot of noise, let me know. So first of all, just Terry, thank you so much for sharing this conversation with us. I almost didn't get on the call because I looked at the title and I was like, oh, I don't really need to have a conversation about age. And then I remembered that this is the Woo community, so age conversation is not just an age conversation. So I'm like, let me get on as I was going to the gym. And one of the things you talked about was perception, right? And I'm 37 years old. I'm 36 going on 37. And people tell me, oh, you're so young, which is nice. It's a nice compliment. Sounds nice. However, In my mind, I'm not 37. In my mind, I'm 57 because I have two older children. One is 20, one is 18, so they're going to college. My youngest is 14, he's going to high school. So in my mind, I kind of like am stuck in this place of where my mother was when I was in my teens. And when I was a teenager, I was pregnant. I was having my oldest son. So, you know, when you said that, it really took me like, wow, I really do walk through life like I'm just like this, you know, this, I've already lived my life. I'm just waiting to turn over and die. Like I really do experience that. And, you know, I have to always ask myself, who said? Who said? Who said that? Who said? So it's like this constant conversation in my head. And the second thing was just about movement. I'm glad you were talking about movement because I resist going to the gym. I love it, but it's just like I don't want to go to the gym. I don't want to work out. And for me was my mother, just because of her own experiences, didn't pass along. She didn't pass along things to me, but she wants to pass her knowledge and her wisdom to me as a from her mouth out, because she didn't do those things, right? She didn't save money. She didn't have, you know, assets, anything like that. So she's like, you need to go to school. You need to save money. You're so young. Why don't you save money? And I have to remember, I was like, you know, sometimes I'm hard on myself because I'm like, I should, I'm smart, I should. But I'm like, no, like these were skills that were not passed on to me. They were taught verbally, not as an experience. Right. So now, even with my own children, I have to remind myself that not to give them a lecture like, oh, you know, when you get older and you start working, you should save money. No, this is how I save money. It's not a lot, but this is how I do it. I have this account, you know, because I guess that's been my experience. I respect and honor the voice of our elders because they have the wisdom that I may never have. So I take in, I'm like, yes, thank you for sharing. And also look at my own experience and how can I be that cushion to support my young people in their transition, whether it's my own children, my niece with her daughter. So, you know, so just thank you for just bringing this conversation and expanding my understanding and my awareness of age.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing, Carmen, and have a great workout.
Oh, no, I'm done. I'm going home.
Oh, okay. I hope you had a great workout.
I did. I had all of you in that workout. So thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Yeah, perception is a big deal. I'll talk about that again um, after these next two shares. Miss Veronica.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I say to Carmen, I'm 66 and I had the same conversation that she had when I was 37 because I also had a child at 17. But what I had, when I raised my hand, it was because I was reflecting on my father and my mother. My father is 98 and he'll be 99 next January. And my father's first cousin is 101 and he'll be 102 in August. And they're both healthy men for their age. My father is always very proud to say that he has all his teeth at 98. They are Barbadian by ancestry, right? And so they are long livers. They ate well. And my father, he always told us that, you know, when he was a young man, he used to drink and he used to smoke. And then he realized that it wasn't good for him. And as a young man, he stopped doing both. He retired at 65 from the New York City Transit Authority, which means that he's been collecting money from New York City for over 30 years. And the bet was that most people, Black men, were not supposed to get that money. They bet on these men having cancer, high blood pressure, diabetes, or stroke right after they retired. So my father won the bet. I'm 66 and I'm retired 5 years. And I say that we only live because of the examples that we've been given. I'm so grateful to my father that his example, I hope, I pray that I could make it to 98 like my father, that I would be a living example, like he's a living example. Because I call him on the phone. I haven't seen him during COVID, but he answers the phone. I talk on FaceTime. And I say to Carmen, I went through those struggles. I went through those struggles and say, well, you know what? I feel so old. Like, I feel like I've lived my life because I had these 4 children so young, started at 17. But you know what? There's hope when we look at the elders and we see that they made it through all these struggles. And if we could just get bits of wisdom from them, just bits of wisdom. My father said, stop smoking, stop drinking. My father bought a house when he retired in Virginia, and he remade the whole house at 65 till he was about 75. Then he sold the house. So we have so much to look forward to. Like, even if we have another day left, we need to live it royally and with grace, and just be grateful for what we have. And one last thing before I hang up. My cousin, my father's first cousin, who lives in Bedford-Stuyvesant, was born in that house that he's living in 101 years ago. What does that tell us about Black people? That we, people of color, period, we could make it, we could do it. We survived all kinds of things, and age is just a number for me. It's just a number. 66 is just a number. I'm looking forward to 30 more years of another thing. I don't know what it is, but I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that you gave us this conversation today, because it made me reflect on all of the elders that have come through my life that passed 66. So thank you so very much. Have a blessed day.
Thank you so very much for sharing. A few things. Congratulations to your dad, uncle, for one, for being a centenarian. Two, I hope that was documented. We'll talk about. Let me just talk about that for a second. If we tell the city officials about their age, they will give them a citation.
Okay. He
So
got a
if that
letter.
hasn't happened,
He got a letter from you know, that president that I will name his name.
no, I'm talking about locally.
No,
The
I'll tell you
local.
all the citations he got.
Okay.
He got the citation from the United States government. He got it from the city council.
Good.
He got it from the mayor. He got it from the Mets organization. They sent him a 100-year hat and a 100-year shirt. We were at his party. He had numerous citations because we sent notice to
Just
everybody.
sent the notices,
Yeah.
yes.
And he got recognized royally for turning 100.
Awesome.
Yes, thank you.
And the one that lived in Bed-Stuy offline, I'll have a conversation with you about that, because there's a project that's happening. So the one who was born in the house, I will have a conversation you offline about that. And just let's make sure that that house stays in the family
I'll give you all the information.
throughout the for the upcoming generations.
Yes.
So congratulations on that. I too was a teenage mother. So I had my son, I was 16. So I get it, Carmen and Veronica, about, at a certain age, it's like, yeah, I'm also retired. I was a former New York City transit worker myself. Um, and yes, there are a lot of people, I've worked with a lot of guys, they didn't even live to see retirement. Okay. So yeah, the bet is high. My mother too was a retired New York City employee. She, collected a pension for more than 30 years. So that is that's a big deal. It's not just a bet on Black people, it was based on when Social Security and when the pension started, it was based on the average chronological age of life for, in the U.S. or in the world, and then in the U.S. at that time, which has increased. So that's why I tell people often that taking a buyout is the short end of the stick, because now they're giving you money and they don't owe you anything. But like in this case, they have to pay you and possibly have to pay your children depending on how you set up your retirement. So, you know, I'm grateful for that. So thank you for sharing that, Miss Veronica. Miss Lori,
Good morning.
good
I wanted to
morning.
thank you.
It's
I
good to
came
see
in
your
late,
face.
but I came in right on time because you were talking about all the things we have to keep doing. Uh, my husband, when I met him, I got married again at 45. And when we met, he said, you know, you got to keep doing all the things you did in the beginning. You have to have consistency if you want to have consistency in your relationship. And I remember laughing at him saying, you know, that when we get old enough, there's some things we're not going to be able to do. But if the spirit is still there, even if you can't do it, but the heart of it is still there, it makes a difference. This conversation about longevity is timely for many of us. And I could totally understand people's perception. With having children ages you. Let's be real. Just the act of giving birth is taking things from your body, but we're responsible for putting it back in. And I think we spend so much time giving that we don't remember to put the goodness back in our bodies. So the movement and what we eat and what we think and who we're around, and all of that's important. And as I am on the other side of 50, which used to be over the hill. Remember when there was all the jokes about old age, which don't even make sense anymore, right? It's like, that's not old. What were y'all talking about? But people used to live like it was old. So I belong to a couple of organizations and the members are older. And when you refer to me over 50 as the young one, it makes me say, well, dang, how old are you? And I realize some of these women are in their 70s, 80s, and 90s. But what I also notice is sort of a loss of vitality or vibrancy and joy that I do not want to have. I want the longevity, but I don't want to lose just my zest for living. That zest is a thing, right?
Zest is a
I don't
thing.
want to be the bitter old lady. I don't want to be the evil old crone. I don't want to be like, we have a million names for mean old ladies, right? I don't want to become that. And I know sometimes they weren't that before. Some of them were, right? Some of them were mean young ladies, but some of them weren't. And I don't know what happened. Is it life, bitterness in life, or like lack of forgiveness, or is it a response to a mental unreadiness for how aging impacts you? I know a lot of people have like this disconnect between what they're looking at in the mirror and what they feel inside, or what they think they can do and what they actually can do. And I also noticed it in my husband's grandmother who just passed away this past year, and she lived to 100. We celebrated her 100th birthday. She danced at her 100th birthday party. She smiled. She enjoyed herself. She ate well, and she went to bed tired but full. And what I know is she also had a lot of sadness about the things she couldn't do, the things she in her heart, like she wanted to cook for her birthday. You can't cook no more. Stop, Nana, right? Sometimes it was hard to reconcile what she wanted to do and what she could actually do. She wanted to remain independent. And her fierce independence almost had her in her own house to 100. But you can't keep falling down the stairs either, right? You can't keep not drinking water because you don't want to make the trip up and down the stairs to the bathroom. The reconciling mentally and emotionally, I don't feel like we prepare ourselves, and as a society, since we're so youth focused, I don't feel like we prepare our society for the mental realities and the emotional realities that there is this wonderful process. Living is not static. And we can't just have the same friends the same age because they gonna die. Because I ain't dying with them. They gonna die. And then where are you if you don't have friends that are in different generations? And I can see some of the reasons why people become sort of like mean and crotchety. I just want to make sure I don't become, I think I've had enough mean days in my young years, and I tried to get over all of that, right? I don't want to revert to that in my old age. And I'm just thinking about what are the things I need to be aware of, to stay on top of, to make sure I'm including, so that I maintain that vibrancy and that vitality and joy in my life.
Mhm. Yeah, so thank you for highlighting those things. One of the things that I recognize, people of a certain age also, um, and they're from the silent generation, and they call it the silent generation for a reason. This is a luxury, right? We call it a necessity, but this is for them. This is a luxury to have conversations about self-care. This is a luxury to them. This is not a conversation that they had. Remember, you didn't talk about your business. You didn't, and some of us are still working through that in order to share now, right? And to have to be part of personal development, spiritual development, because that is something that we learned that we are still carrying, right? That you don't talk about certain things outside of the household. And they are holding that, So I think about, as you talk about some of these 70, 80, 90 and centenarians, where the things that we have experienced, they have experienced tenfold, right? So think about us sharing sexual trauma. Think about them sharing sexual trauma. And in their mind, right? So it's different. Think about them sharing about infidelities in marriages. Think about how they, what they learned and what they were taught and how they feel about this whole uh, sharing of personal development and sharing of information to heal. They don't necessarily see it as uh, some of them are willing, or they might want to, but there's parts of them that feel as though they cannot. So that's a space that they're in. And I know oftentimes in small groups, sometimes I remember when the Me Too movement came out, there were a lot of older women that shared about their Me Too experiences at work. And so that's one thing that came to me. Your grandma, when she being in her home at almost 100 years old, being able to get some support, she might have been able to accomplish that goal, being a fall risk. Um, so that's going to get me on my gerontology soapbox, right? About being able to receive support in the home, about home modifications so that she didn't have to go up and down the stairs if she owned a home, about not having to go up and down the stairs
It wasn't that
to
she
use the
couldn't,
bathroom.
she owned the house. She owned the house outright. It was an unwillingness to receive help. Like that
Ah,
fierce independence that got her to this country, that got her her own house, that helped her be successful, was the same independence that didn't let her receive
the
support. It
support.
was much needed.
Hmm.
It was literally, and she said, y'all gonna get me out of here when I can't move myself.
And
Like
that's what happened.
and that's what happened. And
Hmm.
it could have been avoided. We begged her to let us move the bedroom downstairs. She says, I'm not giving up my dining room. I said, you're not feeding anybody in the dining room. Let us put a bathroom on the first floor. Nope, I got a bathroom upstairs and bathroom downstairs. Like she basically said, it's my house. I'm going to do it my way. Like that same independence that got her through all the things she had been through was the same independence that wouldn't let us help her.
Yeah. And I just helped a woman in the neighborhood pretty much go through the same thing, where she was at odds with the family. And I came up with a clever and creative way so that both of them were able to get what they wanted. So the dining same thing. The dining room still was the dining room. So you know what happened in the dining room? So you and the aide can sit and have meals at the dining room table, and anybody who came over could have a meal at the dining room table on your china. I would love that. Oh, great. You know what I mean? And that's what happened. She eats off of her china. I said, we're taking those gold forks out the box. You know those gold forks that come out on Thanksgiving, but haven't been out in the last 15 years? Yeah, she uses those. And anybody that comes over to provide services or whatever, you offer them that. So there was aid. You offer them a cup of tea. You offer them a drink of water at that dining room table. You know what? We going up and down the stairs. We using these stairs as exercise, right? So we had the physical therapist um, do home visits. I got a physical therapist to come in, and we use those stairs as exercise to prevent fall risk. We put lights on the stairs. We did all kinds of wonderful things. Yeah, for me, that's my job. So I get creative in how these things are accomplished, where everybody can have a win-win. So thank you so much for sharing that. One of the last points I want to make before I have them read the chat and we close out is um, we also, I want to also think about having children like at 45, we're talking about age, right? So having children at 40, 45, you know, my god brother, I know a bunch of people who are over 50 or after 45 just having children. I'm like, I don't know about running behind a 6-year old at this age. That's just me. People want children, but it's those of us who had them at 16 and 17 and you know who, while everybody was going to college or we went to college with while kids were in school and all of these different things, now we have to think about the flip side of that, of when they graduate from high school, you're going to be 70, right? Is that old? Not necessarily, but we just, it's just where you are in your lifestyle, in your life, as we make these different choices. So there's the two sides of the same coin. So I just wanted to put that out there. And um, one of the biggest takeaways for us is this piece around this chronological age versus biological age. That our chronological age is always going to increase at a set rate as the years go by. But however, there are steps that we can take to improve our biological age, right? With the right lifestyle changes, we could have a younger biological age than our chronological age. There are tests for that. Um, get a baseline for all of us, see where we are, and let's improve on that. And the question that I want to leave you with is, we talked about experiencing ageism, but as we move forth in our day and this week, think about how you inflict or ageism on others, consciously or unconsciously. So I thank all of you. Again, happy Memorial Day to all of the freedom fighters, the Tuskegee Airmen, the Buffalo Soldiers, the Underground Railroad folks. Remember, if you don't know, that tomorrow and June 1st is the centennial anniversary of the massacre on the Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So watch whatever you can watch, especially on MSNBC and see it, well, MSNBC, all of the shows that are taking place while they're out there in Tulsa, highlighting the events that are happening now. So I want to say thank you all.
Terry,
And
before Terry, before you
who's on Kenyofu?
Terry, before you completely close out, I want to acknowledge that Caddy's hand is up, and
Okay.
you also shared that you wanted to hear what was in the chat. So what would you like to do?
The chat first, please.
Okay. I'm going up.
And can I see her information? I might have missed it. This is Sophie Speak. Her
Okay.
contact information. Thank you.
All right. I'll have John Carl, can you drop it in while I'm looking at the chat? So Carmen, let's see, I'm sorry, trying to find that location. Oh yeah, here. So Wendy says, in reference to Lori's comment, I beg to disagree that having children ages you. It depends on your lifestyle. Even before childbirth, I looked my best after I had my 2 children. And Carmen says, my mom is part of the silent generation, and I find myself being her partner as she exercises her voice. I shared that my grandmother was 96 when she passed. Over the years, she experienced her sadness, knowing her friends and brothers had left her. And Wendy says, that's the one thing I fear, that my friends may not be around if I live to 90s or outliving my children. As a result, I encourage them to adopt a healthy lifestyle. Jem from Facebook says self-love and self-care is critical. Mm-hmm. I shared that I seek healthy friends and those who are younger, as well as for variety. Cheryl says, my mother is like that. She lives in Delaware, is that DE? Delaware alone at 77. And as her health becomes challenging, she still resists my sister and I's desire to move her closer to us in New York and New Jersey, stubborn and independent. Hosea from Facebook says, very, very proud because God has helped that in it, I was able to achieve my dreams, my dreamed skill, and yet to do more. I have seen people at my age thinking of retiring. I have a feeling that retiring is the beginning of death. We should explore more, at least for our generation. And okay, Lori. Okay, Lori responding to Wendy, my comment about children aging was more about the emotional toll aging you than the physical. I also looked better after having children, but heartbreak and stress, ... And that's it for the chat.
So, and Cheryl also took on hashtag goals, having a younger biological age than a chronological age. And Stacy said she is going to take on how we inflict ageism on others. She said, I will take that on and be mindful of that. So that is my request of all of you, how we inflict aging, consciously or unconsciously, on others.
And Hattie?
Miss Hattie?
Good, I was gonna say good evening. Good morning, sisters. I love this discussion because I just had my 69th year young birthday. And my son calls me, he says, Mom, how you doing? I said, oh my God. I said, baby, I am doing so freaking good. And he says, well, why? I said, because I feel like this is the first day of the beginning of my life. And I think we live in a culture that teaches us that when we get 50, 60, now maybe 40, that we should start preparing for death. That's a culture we have to shift because we still have value. I think that's part of it. We don't feel as though we have value when we get a certain age. So dying is just what we're supposed to do. And because we live such toxic lifestyles, meaning what we put in our temples, and we get sick now. 40-year-olds can barely walk. Most of our men have ED, which means they can't please their women. That's not an option. What I realized 20 years ago, I saw there's a centennial cruise. And I went, and everybody on it had to be 100 or over. And these folks were jamming. I'm talking jamming, okay? Dancing, partying like they were in their 20s. And I'm like, I want to be just like them when I grow up. And as I began to study holistic medicine, I realized that the thing that in cultures, like when I was taking an iridology course, I met a Black woman, absolutely stunningly gorgeous, 203 years old, long Black hair, healthy, great skin. Listen, dying does not have to be our option to 40, 50, 60. Our lives, in my opinion, our lives are just beginning. So if we don't take anything from all this greatness that we've learned today, the missing link is simply that when I look at these cultures who live long, they have good water, right? They have good food, not just poison stuff that we get fed here. But their lifestyle, their soil is full of minerals. That's the missing link for us. We eat food that's devoid of minerals. And that's what our body is made of. You look at the periodic table, they never explained it in school, but that's what our cells need to survive. So if we do that, we're going to be firing on all cylinders. Our brain is going to fire on all cylinders, the whole 9 yards. That's the missing link to keeping us helping longevity, vibrancy, and having a freaking goal. Just because you get 60, 70, 80, you don't work no more, I mean, you ain't got nothing to do. Our babies need us, right? So I'm just like, I'm happy as all living get out right now. And my purpose is really to help us realize that our lives are just beginning because we got too freaking much to give. And 71, your mom say she don't want you to be tripping with her because listen, give her some minerals. She gonna be good. She gonna be good because ain't nobody trying to, because mentally we still sharp. We still want to give back. And when people start taking care of you, that makes you feel like you're an invalid. That makes you feel like you're about to die. And ain't nobody trying to hear that. So, and I know, I see my friends who treat their moms like that. Well, mom, you shouldn't be in this house by yourself. Mom, no, help her live the life she wants to live. Don't take it away from her, then she will die. Thank you, sis. I appreciate your discussion. And I'm complete.
Thank you so much, Miss Hattie. Thank you so much, Miss Hattie.
Yes.
And we thank Miss Hattie for also sharing some of the things that was shared today about healthy eating, to be healthy mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically. We have the tools. We receive them all in this community, and in other communities. We pull out the tool that we need. And I am a gerontologist. So if any of you need help having that conversation with your loved ones, because it's a delicate balance and there is a way for everybody to get what they want. So, you can always reach out to me, and we could schedule a session to have that conversation, because there are some perceptions there and we can take a look at them. So thank you all. So again, as I said, I am a gerontologist. I am the founder and owner of A Labor of Love Elder Care. You can call me at 904, yes, it's the Florida area code, 452-4464. You can follow us on Facebook at A Labor of Love Elder Care, on and on Instagram at A Labor of Love Elder Care. Just follow us on the gram for sure. There's so much information I have on the gram. On Twitter on Aging Answers. And here is my email. I'm Terry at alaborofloveeldercare.com. And of course, the website is alaborofloveeldercare.com. So if you enjoyed the session today, as we know in this Woo community, we give a love offering, and how you can do that either through, which is Zelle and QuickPay are now the same, or Zelle has now replaced QuickPay, at soulleadershipdevelopment@gmail.com, and Cash App $ Spirit of a Woman. Yeah, cash means the $ Spirit of a Woman. So, and the code for today is 336TW, which is, this is the 336th day, and TW are my initials for Terry White. And this week, because Sunday starts the week for some, tomorrow we'll be able to hang out with Mr. X, Xavier Beckwith, for X-Rated, the 7 inches and 7 keys. And then, which is the 31st of May. And then Tuesday, June 1st, you can join Sister Dion Monsanto and Let's Reimagine Spring Cleaning, Physical, Mental, and Financial. Because summer's coming.
Awesome. Thank you, Terry. So wondering if there are any new members in the house today. If you are in the space, please do share that you are new in the chat. So new could mean this is your first day ever. It could mean this is your first day in Zoom live as opposed to being in Facebook. It could be this is your first week. But do let us know whatever new means to you. Let us know that you are new so that you can get your acknowledgements. We are here 5 days a week on Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 7 to 8:30, and on Monday and Wednesday from 7 to 7:30. And we're also streaming live on Facebook. If you don't have it already, go to bit.ly/Woo Swag to get your swag. You have choices. You get your masks and cups and t-shirts and sweatshirts and all sorts of colors. So, yep, you can represent wherever you go. And we ask you to stay in touch and keep in touch. So we have the email that you can be a part of only if you sign up, and you need to sign up every week so that you can be in the database. bit.ly/Wake Up Movement. You will receive who's up next, as well as the Zoom link. And if you're not on Facebook already, you can go to bit.ly/Woo Community. You will answer some questions and get approved. And in that space, you'll be able to communicate with the many others who are who don't make it to the Zoom space, as well as see playbacks. We're on Instagram and YouTube, and we also have an email address, and ask you to send us an email with any comment or questions that you may have. I am creating a gallery experience and taking everybody off of mute so that you can share with.
Thank you, Terry. God bless you.
Thank you, Terry.
Thank
I
you.
watched the playback
Thank
from the
you much.
beginning.
This was
Very
so
Thank you,
valuable.
Reverend Terry, for
Thank you,
this
Reverend Terry,
amazing
for what you're doing.
conversation.
very
God
much
love
love,
everybody and let's
peace, and
move forward,
abundance
everybody.
to you.
Yes.
Let's make it rain
So
for
much.
Terry.
Thank you.
Point 336
So grateful
TW.
for this community. again and
Have an
again.
awesome day, everyone.
Thank
you. Peace and love. Thank you,
Let's move
Edmonton.
forward, everybody.
You're as
Love y'all
young
and
as
have a memorial day.
Thank you, Reverend Terry.
Beautiful said. Thank you so much, Terry,
Again,
for
thanks to the
guiding
ancestors.
me and family. Thank you, Terry.
Thanks to the young ones.
So
Thank you, John Call.
Thank
love
you.
you so much.
John Call.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Terry. Yeah, cheers. Toast it up. Alkaline water. Everybody drink your water.
Just
Peace.
toast it up.
Yeah.
This is not alkaline water.
All right.
We coming off of a
No
party.
liquor
This is
here.
not alkaline water. Okay.
All
No
day.
liquor here.
You facing back. Facing
No
backwards.
liquor.
Look at me. He
Have
made
a
sure you
great
threw that in.
day.
Having me and sharing with us. Love you so much. Have a good day, everybody.
Peace and love.
Yeah,
Have a good
thank
day,
you. Have a
beautiful
wonderful week.
people.
Thank
Everybody's
you.
so beautiful. Peace.